Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living by the Law, the podcast discussing fictional worlds and how wondrous and ridiculous they are. My name is Matt, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jude and Guy. Living by the Law is not currently sponsored. If you wish to sponsor us, befriend the first alien you come across. Teach him checkers and then destroy him at chess. Checkmate him and send him into the stars with humans victorious and your sponsorship offer painted on his ship. We will hear you. We always do.
In our continuing journey through the Halo universe, we've discussed the universe's timeline, the United Nations Space Command, and the Spartan warriors of humanity. But what about their great foes? Today, we will explore Halo's religious hegemony, that is, the Covenant. This episode contains minor spoilers to the Halo franchise. Enjoy.
So I've been playing way too much Marvel Rivals.
Oh, yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah, a bit too much. And you know what it's kind of like taught me?
Mm.
Humanity struggles to work together.
Okay.
And
Yes.
it's interesting to see the levels of what teammates will do and say to make you work. And then the moment things are going well, everyone's like, fuck yeah, guys. It's like, we switch on a dime of it's so over to, oh, we're back. You know what I mean? You know that vibe?
That's the dial. That's the dial.
It's not really a dial. It's a switch that just flips back and forth constantly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as someone who's been stuck in League of Legends land for too long, I understand the the sort of the sightseeing you're doing on your little fun trip in that sort of thing.
You calling my Diamond 3 rank a fun trip?
I'm calling my 6 years of League of Legends worse than that, yes.
Fair.
I agree.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, most people will fill the roles once you play rank at a high enough level. Most people will fill the roles and will be willing to switch. But every now and then you just meet one person who goes, no, I will lose this game if I can't do this, play this character.
Yeah, I mean, running it down's a common thing in the league. It's the thing that frustrates me the most about playing video games with a competitive context. It's like, I would like to know where my skill ceiling lies. You know, I enjoy having that number, knowing that representation, knowing that rank. But I can't understand for the life of me why at the end of the day there are still people who will boot up the video game and go, I'm not doing this for fun. I'm not going to enjoy this. In fact, I will make it worse for everyone else I'm playing with. Because at the end of the day, my immutable thing, my one law is if I am not having fun playing a video game, then I do not know why I am playing it.
That's fair. But I can see the switch between this game is fun if I win and is not fun if I lose. You know what I mean?
I understand that, but also you must understand that if you exist in a large population and you want everyone should win a certain amount, you should expect to lose half games and win half games. And when you are not having fun half of the time,
maybe it's time to find a
different game or reframe your thinking, you know?
I would also argue, like, just because you lose a game, does that mean you didn't have fun in that game?
For some people, yeah.
I know for some people, but I'm just saying, like,
I sometimes struggle. It's like sometimes I'll be fine with it, but sometimes I do struggle with that because it's just like I get very competitive sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Okay, I get very competitive, and I honestly know I am, and I struggle to turn it off. It's very hard for me to play a game and not try my hardest. I literally try. I've tried to like stop and like play, but it physically hurts while playing the game and not trying my hardest. You know what I mean?
I understand that.
I understand it's a struggle for you, but personally, I do not understand it
I can
at
understand
all.
kicking a ball with a child and not smashing them in a game soccer. Like, that's different. But if the game is not like it was never a game in the first place. You know what I mean? But like if we're playing a game of soccer and it's like even teams and it's like and people on my team aren't trying, that's annoying to me. You know what I mean?
There is the contextual difference between not trying. Like I usually just do silly shit. I'll just do some fun things, you know? I'll be a little goofster, a little gagster.
That's fair.
And that injects a little bit of fun into my losing side. If I'm winning, I lock the fuck in.
That's fair.
Because you need to capitalize on every advantage you're given in this godforsaken life. Time is not a resource you get back, and if you are ahead, you need to stay ahead. Because if you ever let it go, the suckers will take it from you.
Who's the most try-hardy in fiction?
In fiction, biggest tryhard.
I mean, I haven't seen this anime, but I'm thinking like Death Note, like Light.
No, he's a fucking moron.
I thought they're like big tryhards.
Oh, they're big tryhards, but the joke is that they're both fucking morons.
Oh, okay.
That's the eventual joke we've landed on.
As in, tryhard in the sense of like...
Who is like the most competitive?
The most competitive. I would say the most competitive ones... Well, you've said anime now, so things that jump to mind for me, Eren Yeager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I would also say Dalinar Kholin from the Stormlight Archives.
Oh?
He is an epic character. Honestly, having read the completion of the first arc of Stormlight Archives and getting like the bookend to his like completed character journey, possibly one of my favorite fictional characters ever written. Beautiful story start to finish. But fuck me if he isn't a competitive tryhard.
Yes.
My two, listen, League of Legends is all I know. But I have two different versions of this. Try hard in terms of I wanted to win, I was going to win, I should have won, I deserve this, crybaby style. I would say Viego, who tried to revive his wife in a necromantic ceremony. It went wrong and he's so mad about it he's going to kill everyone.
Yep.
To boil down the Ruined King to 2 sentences, I apologize. There's some people who are going to kill me for that one. The other one being based Mordekaiser, who thought he was in a competition, won the competition in his head, realized when he died that there was no competition, built the podium himself and gave himself the medal by creating the afterlife he desired. And that is a winner's attitude.
That is a winner's attitude.
Who is... I'm thinking of Yu-Gi-Oh! Who is the... Kaiba?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Kaiba literally... this will be wrong. I haven't refreshed my Yu-Gi-Oh! Very well. But I'm pretty sure he literally prints cards so he can beat kids.
Wow.
Because he owns the company that prints the cards. And then he has the god cards and no one else does.
Incredible.
So, speaking of manipulating the situation to win and come out on top and corrupt systems, we're going to dive into the episode with an absolute right turn here because we are way too far into this cold open and we could keep talking about it forever.
Sure.
Today, I mean, you already know this because you just had the episode intro, but we're rounding out Halo. We've talked about the Marines. We talked about the timeline of the universe. There is one big glaring hole that we haven't touched on yet.
Tell me about the hole.
And that is
the Halo,
Covenant.
the hole in the Halo.
That is the Covenant, the Alien Alliance.
Ooh.
The great superpower in the galaxy.
Aliens,
yes.
They stomped us.
They did. So, we're gonna dive in. Super quick refresher. We talked about the timeline of Halo. We had the Precursor era, who fell away to the Forerunner era. The Forerunner era stomped humanity back to the Stone Ages. The Forerunners eventually wiped out all life in the universe using their Halo array, including themselves. And then certain people were able to rebuild and start again after the eradication of all life of the Halo array. And then humanity and human history happened. We got to the stars eventually, and humanity started brushing out there with other people. However, that's when the Forerunners did their thing. That's like before written human history, really, as far as our understanding goes. And we don't meet the Covenant until 2025 era, 2500 era. So
I was about to say, I was like, wait a second, that's my year.
Until like 2500 era.
Damn it.
So there's a lot of time between the Forerunners doing their thing and us meeting the Covenant. So what's happening the rest of that time? We're going to find out.
I was just going to say, you're going to tell me. I don't know.
We're going to find out. So we're going to start off with a little bit of an overview on the Covenant, and then we're going to dive into a little bit of not much of a timeline, because as I've been trying to do with all of this little mini short series on Halo, I've been trying to do background to the Halo games, not actually the Halo games timeline. Both so you can go and enjoy the Halo games, and so that maybe one day if we get bored, we can do a timeline of the Halo games or something. Or maybe even that can be a guide episode, because you do those episodes real well.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe we just won't touch Halo again. It's very possible.
If you go on the Discord, which you can join our Discord in the description, I keep getting people who message me, and I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. Click, 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 wiki, and like have a quick look, and it's just like 27 games, 13 stories, an animated series, a movie. I'm like,
You've been typecast, guy. I'm sorry.
They got it right, but it's a curse.
So the Covenant is effectively A vast religious government that controls a significant portion of the Orion arm in the Milky Way galaxy.
No separation of church and state?
It is one and the same.
Excellent. As it should be.
The Covenant.
Aliens are a theocracy?
Yeah, that's the word. I don't know if that's the pronunciation. Something's tricking in my mind.
Orion's arm. We found more than his belt?
Yeah. And the Covenant united multiple alien species under one unshakable belief, the worship of the Forerunners and their so-called divine plan, the Halo Array.
Excellent.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
Marvelous.
Is there anything about the halos that make me hungry?
What the fuck are you on about?
I look at them and I'm like, I want a donut.
What do you...
Okay,
No.
I'll be like, listen, I know it's obvious. This is a you problem.
Like or a bagel. Oh, why are round things with holes in the middle so delicious? You know what I mean?
I mean, he's not wrong.
I actually am not a big fan of bagels.
Fuck off,
crazy.
die.
Why?
Sin.
You say fuck off and die. That's a bit much.
I listen.
It's a bit much.
I took a while to come around to bagels. I did not have bagels for a very long time. I my first proper bagel I had when I was probably about 21. It took me a while to get there.
What?
But let me say, bagel, cream cheese, perfection.
Salmon.
No, I don't need anything else. Bagel, cream cheese, maybe ham, some salt. That's it.
No, I like a
little bit of tomato.
Full bagel. Why'd you?
I mean, if I'm doing like homemade bagels, sure, maybe. But I see people going out and buying bagels from cafes and stuff.
Mhm.
I have never once, and you know, we're all entitled to our own tastes, and you'll disagree with mine. That's fine. I don't care. I'm going to hold true to my taste anyway. I've never once seen a bagel be a price and a desire and taste where I can justify or even want to buy that over the sandwich equivalent.
You're so right.
Because whenever you get a bagel from a cafe, it's not just the super basic little bit of cream cheese that you make at home. It's got extra fillings in it to make it more of a thing. It just has an awkward hole in the middle that it makes it difficult to eat.
I'm gonna try and escape the gravitational pull of this side tangent that we're being sucked into.
Yep.
You get one sentence, go, and I'm gonna do my one sentence, and then we're gonna go back to the halos.
Oh, now I can't.
Paragraph, go, just say.
Yes, they are way too expensive, bagels, and I agree with that. Way too expensive. It's like a treat you get every now and then. But it's like, the whole is like when you cut a sandwich in half and it tastes better. Just, I don't know why. It just does.
It doesn't to me, but sure.
That's all I'm going to say.
Entirely fair. My gripe and agreeance with you, way too many cafes that I have come across in Melbourne, admittedly, Cafe City, there's too many that have the fancy version of a thing and do not have the basic version of a thing. I don't want your fucking honey glazed, slow cooked pork, long braised potato baton eggs Benedict. I want egg, sourdough, bacon, hollandaise. That's it.
Yeah.
Bagel cap should be $10.
Yeah.
Also, seriously, $10.
Less than that. Fuck me.
That's not a
Anyway.
cat. That's the cat.
Anyway, I'm cutting us there. The Covenant was originally formed as a mutual alliance between the Sanshium, who we talked about in our very first episode, the Prophets, better known as the Prophets, and the Sangheli, or Elites. Over time, many other species became part of this vast empire, with each species playing a specific role within the Covenant's rigid hierarchy, unified by their faith in the Forerunners and the promise of the Great Journey.
Excellent.
What's the Great Journey, you ask?
I was literally about to say that.
Oh,
I didn't
know,
want to
honey.
interrupt you.
We're gonna get to it.
What's the Great Journey,
We're gonna get to it.
Jude, what's the great...
Covenant society had a distinct caste-based societal system with a strong theocratic underpinning. In the Covenant caste system, one's position in the hierarchy was dictated largely by their species.
Well, that's not great.
No, it's not, is it?
Racial hierarchies.
There is. It is just a racial hierarchy.
Why is it like Halo's this... Okay. No, I was about to say Halo's this delightful romp, and I was like, no, it is very war. It's like, yeah.
I don't think there's anything delightful in the Halo setting.
It also...
the gameplay's
I
pretty
guess-
good.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it justifies us killing? No.
No.
No, it doesn't. But
Take it again.
they're aliens.
Listen, we may be under
We're
a
shooting them.
authoritarian government, but they are a racial, hierarchical, theological theostate.
It's aliens. Keep going, Jude.
Yep. Sometimes you have to go, hey guys, it's a story, and story unfortunately has antagonist and protagonist, and that's as simple as it is.
Hey, alien wants to kill us, we want to kill aliens.
That's it.
I mean, it sets good roles of like, you see that species, like, oh, that's going to be that thing in the game.
100%.
Sandwich rolls, like dinner rolls are so good.
Shut the fuck up. I'm bread
pilled.
The hierarchy was largely dictated by the species, with the Sanshium, the prophets, and the Sangheli, the elites, leading the Covenant's religion and political arms and the military affairs, respectively. So elites being in charge of the military and prophets being in charge of the politics and religion.
Okay.
Most of the other species served as either warriors or manual labor, or somewhere in between. So it's all good and well, right? The Covenant's culture and religion was based solely on the worship and reverence of the Forerunners. Long ago, the Sanshium managed to decipher some of the data stored on terminals aboard a ship called the Forerunner Dreadnought, which we'll get to later, thanks to the Forerunners' robust translation systems. However, even they were unable to fully comprehend the subtle meanings of many Forerunner glyphs. The Sanshium incorrectly interpreted the activation of the Halo Array as a means of transcending mortality, a process they called the Great Journey. They did not understand that the array had been designed to eradicate the Flood specifically by triggering the galactic annihilation of everything and killing all sentient life within the galaxy.
Wait, no!
They arrived at the conclusion that the Forerunners had used the Halo Array to ascend to godhood and left other species of the galaxy to their fates. Because of this, the Covenant devoted itself to searching for and recovering Forerunner artifacts. At several points in the Covenant's history, this desire to reclaim Forerunner technology resulted in the hegemony declaring war against non-compliant species, and the most recent instance being their war against humanity. In Covenant society, personal vendettas are not tolerated. It is all, we are here to get the Forerunner artifacts, get their technologies, and grow our empire.
I mean, transcending mortality. I mean, that's one way to say dying.
It is. But in their mistranslation and misunderstanding of the bits they decipher from the leftover Forerunner stuff, they are given the idea that the Great Journey is finding and activating the Halo Array. That is the Covenant's main aim. Because they believe, the prophets believe, if they activate the Halo Array, they will effectively ascend to godhood.
Do the humans know that the Halos will kill everyone?
Depends at which point.
So they learn that.
As I've said at the start, I'm focusing on pre-Halo game, pre-Halo 1. Halo 1 is the first time we discover anything of the Forerunners and the Halo rings.
I see. So the war started before...
Yeah, before we as humanity know about the Halo Array.
So during the war we discovered, they want to activate that. Oh, fuck, that's going to kill us.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I won't say too much about that because that gets into first game spoilers a little bit, but yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, the Covenant were always eager to add new species to the faith, so long as they pledged allegiance to the Sanshium as their supreme leaders and the Great Journey as their religion. Client races were, however, known to have portions of their culture suppressed, as was the case with the Sangheli and their martial practice.
Wait, why would they suppress that?
It's more that they had a whole martial... alright. They had a martial practice called the Shvavash Wash.
Nice.
That was good.
Perfect.
Which was sort of like a warrior religion belief system, and they suppressed that in favor of the Great Journey.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
So they basically the prophets want the elites to be their warrior caste, and they want them to look after their military, but they want them to do it on their terms, not the elites' terms.
Rough.
Fucking stupid.
Thus making them swear to the Great Journey, that sort of thing.
I'm really excited to hear about my boys.
Yep. For the majority of its existence, the two ruling classes of the Covenant were these two, the Sanshium and the Sangheli. Though the former, as time went on with the Covenant, the prophets, the Sanshium, held greater and greater sway over the Covenant due to their status as the voice of the gods, as they were the ones that was, as we'll get to, communicated the will of the Forerunners and their deities and understood the artifacts. So while it was initially a partnership, the more species they added into the Covenant and the more species that swore their religion to the Great Journey, the prophets started to be held up more and more and more as greater than the elites, because sure, the elites are our generals, but those guys are our religion, and our religion is obviously more important than our military.
It's the government.
Yeah. The Covenant had 10 echelons of government. We're only going to worry about the highest one. The highest echelon being the High Council, which was responsible for making all important decisions. It was made up of over 200 members of Sangheli commanders and Sangshuum ministers. And was ruled by 3 Sangshuum hierarchs. These hierarchs were the highest political and religious authorities in the entire Covenant.
Excellent.
The hierarchs, also known as the High Prophets, ruled the entire Covenant, serving as the highest theocratic leaders in the High Council. Hierarchs rule with near absolute power over the Covenant, and the other races obey their will without question.
What if they disagree?
Without question.
Oh. What if the 3 hierarchs disagree? What if Pope 1, 2, and 3 disagree?
Publicly, they never disagree.
Oh, they go and have that discussion behind doors. I see.
They would only come to the council unified. The hierarchs come to the High Council, so 3 come to 200 with one will, and then the will of that becomes the will of the High Council, and the will of the High Council becomes the will of the Covenant.
Makes sense.
Each hierarch was dressed in a long-sleeved robe with different colouring. Hierarchs donned golden headdresses that displayed a blue holographic halo installation on their forehead, as that would be like the ultimate thing of
the name of the game.
Yeah. Hierarchs sat upon a gravity throne, which was a luxurious anti-gravity chair with gold collar-like plating and were equipped with energy shielding. The hierarchs were always protected by the Covenant Honor Guard, with the hierarchs' personal guards always prepared to kill anything that attempted to harm the hierarch. The Honor Guardsmen would also kill anyone that unholstered a weapon in the presence of the hierarch.
Okay, hold up. All of that's fine. Aliens.
I'm going to throw one more thing on there, just to break your head one little bit more.
No, it's okay.
The hierarch's gravity thrones were outfitted with a powerful gravity cannon that a hierarch could use to annihilate any possible threat.
Fuck
Continue.
yes. Okay,
fucking cannon.
Pause. Gravity chair. How big?
It's like a throne, just like a throne.
It's like a normal throne. Okay. Yeah. Gravity referring, I assume now with that context, to the gravity cannon. Okay. Because in my head, for a quick moment, and I think I want this. I'm not sure. I was imagining them like having a very small anti-gravity field like just above the chair, so you're sitting on a pillow of nothing. You're just hovering slightly above the chair. So not supported, but like not. And then I started thinking about how I could manage this, and now I'm obsessed with the idea of like, you know, an air hockey table,
but it's a person.
But it's a chair.
It's a lot.
So you're just lightly hovering, just kind of sliding around on the chair.
That'd be sick.
I'd be ventilated. I wouldn't be sweating like a pig like I do in every other goddamn chair in my life.
A fan in your chair would be actually sick.
It would be great.
Oh, that'd be nice.
But yeah, ultimately they're little hover chairs that they float around.
Okay, so the chair itself hovers.
Yeah.
It's got a gravity cannon on it.
Yep.
I know that. I'm sorry that this is the only thing I'm getting hooked up on, but I'm just interested. You also said luxurious. It's just pillowed then.
It's just pillowed and cushiony. Yeah.
Okay.
It reminds me of Professor X's like hover chair he has in some of the comics, and then he's also got a fucking gun.
Yeah, basically.
As we've learned from so many versions of fiction, you just sometimes need a gun.
You sometimes need the wheelchair to have a gun.
Yeah, but okay. So the different colors.
Yeah.
Do they represent something? Like red represents the will of the aristocrats. I couldn't think of a word.
Yesn't.
Okay.
They have there's many different high prophets throughout the history of the Covenant, and they have different colors individually. And they would.
So it's not like it's right. It's like more of like when you come to be a high prophet, you get it. You pick your color.
Do they recycle them like
We're going to
numbers?
dive into that now.
Okay,
so
good, we're getting into it.
Well, not specifically the colors, but what I'm about to say will translate to that.
Okay.
So the inauguration of a new set of hierarchs generally coincides with the beginning of a new age. The ages are how the Covenant very deliberately, manually, Lord of the Rings-esque, if you will, decide that a new time of their empire is coming about. So they have like the first age of reconciliation, and then a big event may happen and they decide it's time for the first age of expansion, that sort of thing. So whenever a big either technological or ideological shift comes about, certain prophets may decide, I think it's time we petition for a start of a new age. And when they do, in order to become a hierarch, the Sansum would have to receive the blessing of the Oracle of High Charity. We'll get into what High Charity is in a moment. The Oracle is a ancient Forerunner AI that lives at the heart of the Covenant government.
Much like there's a very similar thing in Mass Effect.
However, the Oracle has not spoken for millennia. Instead, the ascension process of a hierarch is steeped in political machinations and often bribery with the Oracle's keeper, who basically just looks after it and has hush-hush conversations with people. A lawkeeper. After speaking with the Oracle, the keeper of the Oracle, the three Sansum who have petitioned for this new age, if they receive the blessing and they receive the yes, let's do it, they would announce their intentions to replace the current hierarchs in front of the High Council and state their reasons. Although possible to announce their intent to the council without a third, it would make them seem less legitimate, and a third individual would have to be selected after the announcement. So usually you need three. Yeah, basically you need three people together to make new hierarchs.
Hey,
are you putting yourself up there? Like, I should be the new hierarch, or you're saying this? You're like going.
Generally,
I think Jim should be it.
Generally, you're putting yourself forward because you're the one that's petitioning for a new age.
I see.
Listen, I'm counting the table.
I know, right?
We're going to be the new prophets?
Yes. After being approved of by the High Council, a grand ceremony known as the Ascension would occur to formally declare the coming of New Age and introduce the new hierarchs to the rest of the Covenant. Then, the newly risen hierarchs would humbly ask the Oracle to bless the new age, at which point the person that keeps the Oracle would say, the Oracle blesses this age, and they
hands them $20.
They all clap.
They all clap, yes, and then they kiss.
Do the other guys who are currently in charge?
They sit down.
They just step down?
Well, generally, once you've received the blessing of the Oracle and you announce your intention to the High Council, that is when it becomes a debate between the current hierarchs and the new oncoming hierarchs.
Yes.
And it is possible that the current hierarchs might win that debate, and the High Council may decide to side with them and go, you know what? No, it is not time for a new age. You three are false.
False prophets.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
If they do step down, however, the old hierarchs do still have slightly greater sway in they can go back into the High Council, and they would have greater sway than another member of the High Council, but they can't overrule the High Prophets if they make a decree.
Oh, so they don't get put out to like a farm upstate.
No.
Take it out back and just
no. Generally not. It is also quite common for them to just voluntarily retire if they get old.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Do any of the prophets, if a prophet dies and there's not a 3 anymore, there's only a 2, do they have to replace all 3 at once? Or
they replace one of the 3.
They
Unless for whatever reason the prophets don't tend to die.
I see. They get replaced before they die of old age.
Generally, they are quite long-lived, the prophets, their race, and also like their technology and their medicine, etc., etc. They live for quite a long time. It's much more likely that they will be replaced than die, and they've got so much protection, and if someone manages to assassinate one of them, that would be insane. But yeah, if one of them did die and they don't decide it's time for a new age, then they would have to effectively vote / put someone forward and then debate and then accept them or not accept them, etc.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. What's the average length? Sorry, are you done with the ages? You're moving on to the next?
I was just going to say one thing real quick.
Go.
At the time of Halo, the 3 high prophets we have are the Prophet of Mercy, the Prophet of Truth, and the Prophet of Regret.
So they pick a theme.
So as I say, they put forward their intent in this new age. And their intent then, in a sense, contributes to their name.
And their colour?
And then they'll colour themselves, yeah.
Yeah, Mercy seems like a bit of maybe like a lavender.
Like a light yellow. Okay, so, a couple questions. One, what age are we in, if those are the names of the prophets?
The Covenant marked the time of the games as the Age of Reclamation.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay, that's before the war, or is that during the war?
Officially, it's marked with discovery of some major Forerunner artifacts.
So is that before or after the war?
I mean,
it's before.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, having a guy of mercy while you're at, declare war?
Here comes my second question that'll lead to my third question. How, on average, long would an age be? Is it hundreds of years, tens of years, like
more
3 years?
It does vary, more in the hundreds.
Okay, cool. Hypothetical. Me and my boys, we've got together, we've said we've been in the war of it.
Mhm.
We've been in the age of war for too long now. We're not doing any war. We've conquered everything. We're just doing research at this point. It's time for the age of discovery. The age of discovery, we debate, we get through, we get blessed by the oracle, we get put onto the thrones, and like 2 years later, we discover a bunch of warmongering creatures, humans or something like that. It's like, ooh.
Shit. So we're in the age of peace, and we just declared war. Should
we change? No,
Well,
because then
that-
we'd have to get some new
Yeah.
Well,
guys
that
in.
would then potentially lead members of the High Council from the Senshium to seek the blessing of the Oracle, declaring their intent to declare a new age. Basically, you could consider it like the Space Age-y, religious-y, overly fucking council version of going, we have a great prime minister for right now. However, a foreign power has declared war on us. I think we're going to declare a vote of no confidence because we believe that our current leader is not a good wartime leader.
Me at the council table. Whoa! Shut up! Let me think. The age of discovering how to blow these fuckers up. The age of discovering how fucking sick our soldiers are. Let's discover some new guns. Get on that. What other discoveries can we do?
We're going to discover what's inside their bodies by
Yes,
killing
good. All right, let's keep ourselves on
Anyway.
this council. Let's keep this moving.
Anyway,
Can't have a 2-year
the
age.
interesting thing with prophets of mercy and truth and regret, mainly truth and regret because they're two that we come in contact with in the games. While I won't spoil much about them individually because you'll get to play against them and stuff in the games, their names, it's kind of, I guess, considered a bit of a Halo trivia if you want, but their names almost seem ironic when you play through the game. For example, the Prophet of Truth is shown to be the ultimate lying manipulator who just manipulates every situation and lies to everyone to put himself in power.
I see.
The Prophet of Regret shows absolutely no regret and rushes headlong into everything like a blustering, naive idiot constantly.
So it's more of what you're trying to show, and not actually what they are.
Yeah. Like I say, it's more their intent than their actual. It's intention, not self-reflection.
It's what looks good.
Yeah, 100%.
The
Prophet of Truth putting himself
of.
forward as the ultimate beacon of truth because he wants people to believe that his version of events is the truth. Because why would the Prophet of Truth be lying when in reality it gives him a free ticket to lie and manipulate every story, right?
It would be weird to make him he's the prophet of propaganda.
Well, exactly, but yeah.
The prophet of lying.
Yeah,
I'm
you get
the
idea.
prophet of getting things done on time.
Finally, within the Covenant, there is one more title of somewhat important position, which you'll probably maybe know, and that is the Arbiter. The Arbiter is a title of the highest possible honor bestowed upon Sangheli.
He's an
The
elite.
elites. Yes, he is an elite. The title, back when the Sangheli were their own independent group, this was the greatest religious, military, and political rank of the Sangheli, a spiritual and political leader, if you will. And the title, however, after they joined the Covenant, the role was downplayed in importance somewhat, with the Sangheli of the newly created High Counselors being made a higher rank than the Arbiter. So the Arbiter was still a spiritual leader and a military leader, but the newly formed High Council, which would have been like 100-ish members of the elites, technically outranked the Arbiter and would make decisions without the Arbiter.
But if he made like a speech to them, they'd be like, "Oh, we should probably listen to this guy a little
Exactly.
bit."
He was more,
He's got a point.
yeah, he's a great general, but he's not on the council. You know what I mean?
It feels like he's there to placate the Sangheli to be like, okay, we got one of our own at the leadership position.
Exactly.
He seems like he's doing a good
very similar
job.
to, like the king now.
Very much
So
so.
if the
very
king went
much
to
so.
Parliament and said like this is what I feel like we should do, they'd be like, "Oh, we'll listen to him a little bit." He'd get a speech, but they might not always go with what he says.
Yeah, you can kind of, if it helps picture it, you can definitely consider it at the like translation from having the absolute monarchy into Houses of Parliament and formation of Parliament in the UK. I guess that kind of works as a bit of a through line. This would eventually change again. Approximately 400 years before the Human Covenant War, an Arbiter declared that he did not believe in the Great Journey, and he was stripped of all his rank and killed. Thus, the title, by the prophets,
Wow.
was forced and became a brand of shame. Arbiters were sent on highly perilous and suicidal missions by the hierarchs. On these missions, the Arbiter was expected to die and to become another great martyr of the Covenant on their path to the Great Journey. This was seen as a way to regain their honor, because they had the honor of dying and becoming a martyr. But it would be kind of like this military general fucked up, you've just been promoted to Arbiter.
Imagine we did that to the king. We just sent the king on suicide mission.
I want to see King Charles's suicide mission.
He's just on the front lines. Let's get him, man.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Back to the front lines. Ah!
You need a promotion that puts them in a position of shame. It's a good idea.
Yeah. It's kind of like promoting someone to a position where they can be the scapegoat to take the fall for a decision that's gone poorly, you know?
You've been promoted to customer.
Yeah. Depending on the nature of this assignment, an Arbiter may have to act alone, they may have support of Covenant military forces, or they may literally be in charge of a large number of Covenant troops and literally be leading a huge army. It depends on the situation. Notable arbiters have been appointed by prophets during incidents such as the taming of the Lekgolo, the Ungoi Rebellion, and the Human Covenant War.
I know the Ungoi. Little bastards.
Yeah. But that brings us nicely. Into the species of the Covenant.
I'm excited for this.
Each species had its own role within the Covenant's rigid caste system. What I would like to do is give a quote, and Matt will give you the quote this time.
Yay!
I'm just going to simply say this is a quote from a prophet.
Most of those we encounter in our search were compelled to join our union, to take part in a movement that promised freedom for allegiance, salvation for service.
Yes.
Is that how they sound? That's what I imagine.
No, I like it. So the first one, of course, the Sanshum, or prophets. We talked about them a lot last time, and we've talked about them now, but, in a sense, they're kind of a worm-like humanoid species, very, long, slender, big, long, wormy neck almost, with little scrawny arms, and they they are the leader caste of the Covenant. And then the Sangheli, just to quickly remind ourselves of them, they're big, humanoid, saurian, sapient species known for their warrior culture and combat skills, and they are the leaders of the military arm. The next one, the Jiralhane, or brutes.
Mm-hmm.
If one of you, Guy, will go, if you just search up Halo Brute.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read something and then I'll let you give a little description for me afterwards.
Excellent.
They are a mostly carnivorous sapient species of pseudo-ursine mammals. They were known for their brute strength and savage combat tactics. How would you describe it?
Space orc. It's an orc in space.
Yeah.
It's got the orc sort of big, Neanderthal is kind of the best thing, like the heavy brow and the big jaw type look. Very squashed up nose, akin to what has that nose? It's like a dog nose.
Yeah.
And like a little bit of hair on its head, and from the images I'm seeing, a lot of big chunky armor with spikes and shit on it.
It's like a pug. Pug's nose.
Yeah, so Ursine-like being bear-like as well. That's
absolutely it. Yeah. Cross a orc and a bear and put him in space.
Basically, yeah.
It's got big armor.
And they're big, they're brutal, they're savage. They are kind of a mirror to the elites, where the elites are honor in combat and combat as a passion and a prowess. The brutes are just blatant brute strength, might is right.
The elites are kind of like elves in a weird way.
Weirdly so, yeah.
And the brutes are kind of like trolls.
Yeah, basically.
Look at their big toes. They got two toes.
The next one, Matt, if you want to Google Halo jackals. So the next one are the Kigyar, or jackals/skirmishers. They're basically the same thing. They're a small, nimble, dinosaur-like species, and they functioned as scouts and mercenaries due to incredible vision, hearing, and smell.
Yeah, just make a raptor basically a humanoid.
Yeah.
And they got like spines down there. It's like a mohawk kind of spine down the thing, and they got also spines on their elbows and arms, on their forearms. These are the guys with the shields and the guys
the jackals. Yeah, so the jackals have the shields, and then the skirmishers have the big snipers.
Yeah.
Generally.
I remember the jackals with their bloody shields.
They're a pain in the ass. Yep.
Yeah.
And you have to punch them to break their shields.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. The what's the word? And yeah, so I kind of describe them like very kobold-like as well, if that helps.
That is very good.
yeah.
Yeah, they are similar to kobolds. Yeah.
The next one, the Ungoi, also known as grunts to many individuals,
These are
are
my
a
boys.
sapient species of squat bipedal xenoarthropodal vertebrate life forms from the planet Balhalo. From the planet Balhalo. Wow. In 2142, the Ungoi became the fourth species to be assimilated into the Covenant. I'll talk a little bit more about them, but Guy, if you want to add anything to the description of the little fucking rat boys.
I mean, yeah, little rat boys. It's a big ass feet. Him got some big ass feet. Him got some big ass hands, and then little sticks kind of coming back. It's got Rayman vibes, except if he was fucked up. What's the lump on? Is that a part of their anatomy?
It's like a bony.
Okay,
thing,
most
yeah.
most versions I can see also gives them this big sort of spike out the back, like the worst hunch you've ever seen in your goddamn life. And a couple of them have even blinged them the fuck out. A couple of them have got some armor and stuff on them.
He looks like a teenage ninja turtle.
Yeah.
He also looks like these are little goblins. These are the goblins. These are my boys.
Yeah. This is for sure a creature. I remember these guys.
Yeah. So during their tenure, the Ungoi were always the lowest ranking species in general terms, and they were frequently mistreated by members of almost other race, especially the Kigya and the Brutes.
If they were assimilated into the Covenant, oh god, sorry for the bump. If they were assimilated into the Covenant, were they like spacefaring? Because how did they get on the radar otherwise?
The Covenant find species looking for Forerunner artifacts, so they would have just arrived on their planet.
Okay,
and
so
gone,
they very much could have just arrived on the planet. Because
Yeah.
listen, don't judge a book by its cover. Maybe they were super advanced, but I don't know. Don't strike me as such.
I think these guys can do space travel.
I think these guys can do
Look at
space.
this guy.
Listen, I
This
think these
guy.
guys can do space.
I would trust this guy driving my spaceship. I would trust
the next one.
Come on, go for it. Get that pronunciation.
Megalic Gollo,
Perfect.
or hunters, is a gestalt of the Lek Gollo, which are small worm-like creatures that group together to exponentially increase their intelligence, strength, size, and maneuverability.
The hunters are worms?
The hunters are they're basically a colony of worms.
Ew, these guys are fucking... I remember these guys being so fucking annoying.
Yep. It takes a... when it goes into combat in this form, so the species is Lek Gollo, and they take the form of Macagollo, the long one, fuck me. They take that form for combat, and it's a very heavily armed and armored bipedal form used for heavy assaults. Matt, if you would like to describe the hunters.
Oh god, I just zoomed in on one of their skins. It's just a lot of worms.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yep.
Okay, so in their suited up form, their colony form, they're humanoids, they're hunched back over. This is I guess more troll-like.
Yeah.
This is like the big ones they have in like Lord of the Rings. They have like big drums and stuff like that, and they have like spines coming off the back, big spines, and one of their arms is a fucking hydro cannon. Like it's fucking. It's just oh no, what are they called in?
It's a fusion cannon, I believe.
Yeah, hydro cannon's a Pokemon move.
Yeah, big shield.
Yeah, and they just have a really big armor, and then their skin is just worms.
Yep. It's pretty gnarly. The next one, the Yanmeis, or drones, as they are known by humans, are a flying insectoid species that served almost exclusively as engineers originally before becoming used as aerial combatants against the UNSC, who were very inexperienced at fighting airborne infantry. Guy, if you would like to add anything to the drones?
Henry Bugman. Big man. Big bug.
It is big bug.
Man. Big bug man.
It's Stinkfly and Halo, right?
That's a big bug man. For actual bug reference, I'd say it's closest to something like a cricket is coming to mind with the little knee spines and elbow spines. They got little claws on every end, and otherwise carapace, some wings. Henry Bugman, big bug man.
Yeah,
I thought
100%.
they had two heads, but no, that's just their kind of like shoulder padding.
My League of Legends guys out there, fucking Kazakhs.
Yeah, true. And then there is the last one, the Haragok, a race of biomechanical sentient beings that were created by the Forerunners to maintain their technology and, in some cases, maintain biological beings.
Wait, what?
Who?
The Haragok. Huragok.
Oh, terrible.
Yep.
Awful creature.
What the fuck are these?
How would you describe this, Matthew?
Horrible. Ew. Gross.
I hit it 10 out of 10 first try.
Do they float?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so
How else do you imagine this thing ambulating? It rolls.
I thought they were just on a wall, like they'd.
That's also good.
That's what I assumed. So just like a round area of like bulbs coming off it that's dark blue with like kind of like what looks like electrical stuff going through it. Imagine like a big ball with like bulges coming off it, and then there's tendrils coming off it. So there's like two tendrils at the top that look like antenna. There's one big one just sprouting out the front, which does not look right. With like 3 bulbs in the end, and there's like 4 or 5 tentacles coming down the bottom as well that just hang down like.
So these guys are also,
Gross.
their human name, if you will, is engineers.
Okay, I just found one that's like an outfit. They look really cute.
Stop it. No, that's fan
So
art.
they're little things to their eyes in that front thing. That's a head?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
They're pretty awful, right?
Okay, so wait, you said so they've replaced the not the hunters, the drones as the engineers. I'm not going to question that. I assume that the appendage can hold a fucking screwdriver. Sure. I don't fucking know. This thing it's one of those things where it's like a lot of the time humans will gravitate towards creating something that looks humanoid because we know it works, so therefore, it's the best shot we've got at knowing that something else works. This is one of the designers going, fuck you, I'm going to make a creature.
I'm going to cook.
But also, I hope you're going to get into it. I hope not. Also, maintaining. Did you say organisms or?
In the Forerunner era, they would have used them to help look after biological beings in like a medical sense.
I don't want to be doted upon by this nurse.
Were these like kept on ice? Like how were they secretly?
The prophets found them in the early days.
Oh, I see.
Just
Was it
locked
on
away
a-
in facilities.
Was it on a fucking weird thing near one of the Halo rings where it could maybe
No.
control? No, we're not doing a Mass Effect. All right, all good.
Anyway,
They're not
the High Prophets, so this is the species. The High Prophets rule over them with absolute authority, enforcing their religious doctrine and directing the Empire's military might. In 2525, the High Prophet of Truth, along with the Prophets of Mercy and Regret, led the Covenant in a war that would change the course of galactic history. So that's the overview. We're going to round out the episode by talking through the timeline.
Delightful.
Okay.
Why? What?
Why do the prophets look like the who's the old lady, the slug lady in Monsters Inc?
Oh,
a little bit.
It's like her crossed with the. I keep coming back to it. The Time Lords.
Yeah.
The Time Lords. The Time Lords are the masters of
headdresses and
that
stuff.
fucked up headdress thing.
Yeah.
And God bless them for it. It's bling as fuck, but
Oh my
also,
God.
goddamn.
So, timeline-wise,
Mhm.
the founding of the Covenant, of course, where it all begins. But before that, we start with the Sansum. They recovered very quickly after the activation of the Halo Array, developing their technology and culture around the huge number of Forerunner relics left behind on their home planet, Janjor-Com. This included the Forerunner Dreadnought, a colossal ship bristling with advanced technologies and a powerful AI known as the Oracle. In 2200 BCE, by human reckoning, a divide emerged between two factions on Janjor-Com. The Stoics, who saw the Forerunner Dreadnought as a sacred and untouchable artifact that should be left alone, and the Reformists, who wished to enter it and study it. This led to the War of Wills, culminating in the Reformists seizing control of the Dreadnought in 2100 BCE and escaping into space, the process of which broke off a chunk of their planet, sending it into orbit.
Holy fuck.
This rock would eventually become the foundation of High Charity, a mobile space station that served as the new capital/home planet of the Sansum in space. Though victorious, the Reformists faced genetic challenges due to their small numbers, as only about 1,000 of them survived and escaped on the Forerunner Dreadnought.
Holy.
This enforced strict breeding controls and later covertly acquiring more of themselves from their home planet that they left behind.
Sorry, we're doing a fucking cum
Yep.
raid.
Yep.
Did they take the people? Or
No, they took the people. They didn't like
Oh,
come
okay.
raid.
That's
No.
what I thought.
Oh,
Did they
no,
just
no.
raid like
Sneaking in the night.
They
No.
didn't raid like one of those like, just
Like a
a
sperm
cum
bag?
lab. Yeah, sperm bag. He's like,
As I said, the cum
we're
raid.
going in.
No.
We grab the sperm and we get out.
No, they
Remember
went
the
back
mission.
and abducted some people.
Don't
just
get distracted.
Because they didn't want to, like... effectively, the Reformists were just 1,000 people that left and escaped. That was
Okay,
it.
that makes sense.
But they basically became all that was left of their species.
Fuck, that's funny.
Meanwhile, Meanwhile, the Stoics remained on their homeworld, advancing independently but refusing to study any more Forerunner artifacts, so this stagnated them and made them start to fall behind. Eventually, the space-faring Sanshum, the Reformists, would claim that Janjor-Com was destroyed, though this was never confirmed. During their travels, they encountered and recruited the Hurugok to assist in working with the Forerunner technology, chiefly keeping the Forerunner Dreadnought operational.
These are the engineers.
These are the engineers.
Yeah.
But they're focused purely on the Forerunner stuff at this point, because that's their main purpose.
Yeah.
The defining moment in the formation of the Covenant came in 938 BCE, so this is like nearly 2,000 years later, when the Sheshum reformists aboard their dreadnought and now their mobile capital command station High Charity entered a system controlled by the Sangheli. The first contact quickly escalated into an ideological and military conflict. We touched on this last time. Basically, what it boiled down to, the Sangheli revered Forerunner artifacts, and they just thought they were sacred and untouchable, similar to the Stoics and the Prophets' homeworld, whereas these prophets they encountered want to study, utilize, and take them, basically. This difference in belief led to an 86-year-long war, with the Sangheli's military prowess pitted against the Sangshum's advanced technology. The war ultimately reached a stalemate, forcing both species to acknowledge the potential for mutual destruction. This fear led to a truce in 852 BCE, brokered by the Sangheli leader Pelishar the Strident, and the Sangshum leader Breaking Shadow, culminating in the signing of the Writ of Union, a treaty that established the Covenant and brought lasting peace between the two species. And this is when things like the High Council are formed, and they start to establish, all right, we're going to have a 200-person council, you guys are going to be in charge of expansion and military, we're going to be in charge of technology and ideological stuff, and it was a happy union. For now.
Yeah, until they slowly just took over the government.
Yeah.
The conclusion... fighters.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
No, 100%. The conclusion of the war marked the first age of reconciliation. However, peace did not come easily, as in 851 BCE, there was a rebellion by people in the Sangheli, known as the Rending, which tested this new fragile alliance. This period also saw the expansion of High Charity into not just a capital spaceship of the Prophets, but really turning it into like the command station of the Covenant and making it like the place where the government would sit. So very Mass Effect in that sense.
Okay. Yes, that makes sense. The AI, is the AI still talking to them at this point?
Supposedly.
So did the AI ever work?
In the very early days, yes.
So why didn't this AI tell them, hey, those Halo rings, they fucking kill everyone?
Because... well, I'm hesitant to answer that question too much.
Okay, is this the spoiler territory?
It's getting towards spoiler territory for the first Halo game. However, all that I will say is the Forerunners wanted to activate the Halo arrays, and the Oracle is Forerunner technology. That's all I'm going to say.
They did activate it. So
and the Sangheli have a belief about the fact that this is the thing they should do, is activate the Halo array.
I mean, that is what the Forerunners did. So I guess they believe they should do it.
They've misinterpreted what the Oracle is. Also, just to put it out there, because I only saw the Sanshayum in their like royalty form, just sitting in their chairs. They do have fighters.
Yeah, 100%.
They're just in like no, because I never saw photos. I always saw them sitting in the chairs. But there's actually like some okay, because it was in my head of like, how the fuck are these guys fighting? Like they're just big guys in chairs. They all have gravity thrones, just like hovering towards you like
big
fucking
cannons.
Daleks.
No, the only ones that have chairs are the High Council.
Okay,
The three.
Are they like in the thing of that race? Would they be considered like old, like elderly?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, cool. So it makes more sense. There are younger versions of them that appear to have, actual ability to stand up and walk around with a gun.
They do look like Chads, holy shit.
They look really cool. No, because, again, I've only seen this, like, hunched over little chair look.
It is also a thing of note, I won't get into it too much because it'll just add too much time into this episode, but they are a diminishing race. I mean, it doesn't help that they like ruined their gene pool and potential for expansion when only 1,000 of them took off into the stars. But at the time of repopulation reseeding after the Halo array activation, supposedly they only had about 500 million people in their species, and by the time of like later into the Covenant, that figure had dropped to like 23 million, which, considering it's the entire galaxy, that is not a lot of people in their race.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll continue moving on. As the Covenant expanded, they encountered and integrated new species. In 784 BCE, they clashed with a species called the Lekgolo, which we just talked about, and they had devoured many Forerunner structures, thus the conflict. Although initially met with violence, the Covenant eventually allied with them, adding their formidable hunter forms to the military ranks. The Covenant's early around this time as well, there's constant moments of internal strife, including lots of mini civil wars, which continued to shape its evolving structure and forcing them into this position of giving more and more power to the High Council and making them have more overarching control rather than less independent control.
I'm interested. How do you communicate with the worms? Is there like one worm that's the ultimate worm, or do you communicate with all the worms? Are they collective hive mind?
Fuck if I know, man, honestly. Let's just keep rolling.
I'm interested in how you can talk to the worms.
Cool. Look it up in your own time.
Psychic.
We give you your own research sometimes.
Homework.
Dude, there's so much I'm covering here. Don't at me, dude, please.
Get on the Discord and at Jude about how the worms work.
Guys, please. No, don't. In 1112, the Covenant first contacted the skirmishers and jackals, which led to initial violent conflicts, but diplomacy eventually secured their place within the Covenant, and then they encountered the drones, and you get the idea. When they first encountered the Kigyar, the jackals rather, they were utilizing an asteroid belt for guerrilla warfare, which saw them put up an impressive fight against the Covenant. Negotiations saw them incorporated into the Empire, but because of the way they resisted the Covenant for as long as they did, it let them kind of get a pretty good position as, like, fairly well-respected soldiers, mercenaries, and privateers in the Covenant, rather than just being the grunts, who were much more easily assimilated in 2142, becoming labourers for the Covenant.
So sad.
Yeah.
Poor grunts.
Poor grunts. However, tensions erupted in 2462 with the Ungoy Rebellion.
Holy shit, they rose up?
The Ungoys revolted. It was sparked by Kigyar aggression, because the jackals and the grunts don't like each other very much. They're both short man syndroming each other, I guess. The conflict ended swiftly after an arbiter ordered the glassing of the grunts' homeworld. Oh. And that made the grunts basically completely go, okay, we submit.
Bit fucking rude.
Yep, so their home planet is destroyed.
Fuck that arbiter. Poor grunts.
But that just gives one of those little situations where, despite arbiters not necessarily having the same position they once did, the High Council will promote someone to arbiter for a particular purpose. And in this moment, it was, you are being made arbiter of the operation to shut down the Ungoy Rebellion, that sort of thing. And then the Brutes are one of the last ones to join. They're discovered in 2492 amidst their own brutal civil war. Some factions of their race willingly joined the Covenant, while others resisted before eventually being subdued. Their brutal nature and unwavering loyalty made them valuable warriors within the Empire. So that's the founding, and that gets the Covenant to the state we know, and then leads into the next big era, which is arguably, it's getting towards the modern era of the game. Okay. And it is their discovery of humanity on Harvest. While some within the Covenant saw potential for an alliance, the ruling hierarchs, Truth, Mercy, and Regret, viewed humanity as a threat to their religious authority. Their knowledge of humanity's true connection to the Forerunners led them to declare war, branding humanity as heretics to be exterminated. As you will remember, the Forerunners did decide and believe that the humans would be the true inheritors of the mantle of responsibility. And
it just took a while to get there.
Yeah. And the belief is that through their deciphering of old Forerunner artifacts and records and information, the prophets saw this and they were like, well, fuck, if anyone else starts to realize humanity or who the Forerunners thought would be important, that's going to kind of ruin our whole thing, so we need to wipe them out.
Humanity's special. So special.
Yep. Throughout the war, some Sangheli began questioning the Prophet's motives. Humanity, despite being technologically inferior, proved to be a tenacious and formidable enemy. which earns respect among the Sangheli. Their soldiers, particularly the Spartans, gained legendary status for their ability to devastate Covenant forces. Meanwhile, a growing...
they killed us so goddamn good.
Yeah,
gotta respect it. They killed us so goddamn good.
on that guy's name.
Yeah. And this
John Halo.
also sets up a group of brutes known as the Banished, who defy Covenant rule and begin launching raids against their former lords.
Nice.
Which is just one of the mini conflicts you kind of interact with in the game. Following the fall of Reach in 2552, the Covenant discovered one of the sacred Halo rings, which we talked about. That's the first Halo game, because the Covenant discover the Halo ring accidentally by pursuing the humans, who accidentally discover the Halo ring. Because Cortana discovers, from some Forerunner relics they found, Cortana discovers some coordinates. She plugs them into Pillar of Autumn to get them away from Reach. They arrive there, the Covenant follow them through slipstream travel, and everyone goes, holy fuck, it's a Halo.
So had they not... Wait, so the religious order founded around the belief of the fact that they need to activate the Halo rings, had they found a Halo ring?
No, it's all about the belief that Halo rings are out there. Like they've read about them. They're like, these things are probably almost mythical. That there's probably questioning, do they even exist?
Well, I was gonna say there's no Forerunners around anymore, so why would there be any Halo rings around anymore?
They could literally be like, it's just it's like fate.
Oh, that's why they're
fate.
hunting down the artifacts so they can get. We fucking led them right to it.
Imagine literally discovering that they're real. It's like if you discovered like angel, you just discovered you met an angel.
Literally,
you're like, holy fuck!
Oh my god!
Like there's one thing believing that, there's something meeting it.
Their celebration was short-lived, however, as a single human soldier, known only to the Covenant as the Demon, led a small force of humans that destroyed the ring and killed all of the Covenant forces there. And his name was John Halo.
Otherwise known as Master Chuff.
Master
Chuff. The Sangheli responsible, Thel Vadimir, was branded as a heretic, but later appointed as an arbiter. And he's a playable character in one of the Halo games.
Oh, nice.
Is he the elite you play with in number 3?
Yeah. He's the arbiter that you play as/with. Yeah. Further conflict arose among the Covenant, which is endured for many, 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 many thousands of years now, but starting to show signs of wear and tear as they've discovered a Halo ring, not been able to use it before it was destroyed, and people in their own ranks starting to question them because they're starting to respect the humans. What the fuck is up with that? And then further conflict arose when the Prophet of Regret launched an unplanned and underprepared attack on Earth, following a human ship through Slipstream to find it. Outnumbered and unprepared, he attempted to flee, but was pursued to another Halo ring, where he is ultimately killed. The ring itself was nearly activated, but stopped by human forces.
Imagine you're running away and you just find a Halo, like, oh, fuck.
Yep.
Activate it.
Is that twice now? That someone's been running away and found a Halo ring? Okay.
And this really brings us to the turning point of the war, which is the end of the timeline without getting completely spoilery. Because that's when it starts to get... Humanity has a good fighting chance here. The Covenant's starting to show its cracks, and who knows what could happen next. But yeah, that is the Covenant, boys.
Damn.
Being lost the only way to find something that can't be found.
What are we fucking...
I was working so hard.
Thank you.
Delightful. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, let's build a religion around something we can't find.
Those are my alien boys.
Let's start a religion around reasonably priced bagels.
That's honestly based. I love the grunts. The grunts are my boys.
Yeah,
boys,
There's a reason I explained. I gave them a few more sentences than the other races.
They're just little sweet guys who want
to
grab grenades and run at you with grenades in their hands.
I think they're the one enemy that you sometimes feel bad killing in Halo, because you snipe out an elite with your shotgun
and he just runs away,
and then all the grunts go, "Wah!"
Yeah, they're too endearing. Yeah.
But then also you have to kill them, because for every one that runs away going, "Wah!" another one suddenly turns around with 2 grenades in its hands going, "Ah!" So you kind of have to shoot them as they run away.
Delightful.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I don't like to watch him go, but I love to shoot him as he walks.
There's just such an amazing disparateness of, like, competence.
Yep.
And even, like, at the top levels. I mean, God, what are we doing here?
I still remember playing just endless rounds with playing with my mate, and we just play rounds on the beach in Reach, in Halo Reach,
Reach Beach,
and it just gets harder and harder as you go.
Yeah, survival. Yeah.
And they keep dropping, and sometimes they'll drop like 3 hunters. You're just like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Like, fuck off, just fuck off.
Are the hunters the ones with the spikes and stuff?
Yeah, they're like the big fuckers.
The worm boys.
They're really hard to kill, and they've got
Gotcha.
a fucking cannon that just insta kills you.
Shoot him in the back.
Yeah, that's what you do. That is the weakness of the hunters. They have a
Sorry, that's the weakness.
well, they take more damage in the back. Yeah.
They have a shield that's like there is no weapon in the game that can shoot through their shield.
Okay.
The only way that you can really stop them is by hitting around their shield with like an explosive of some kind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or by shooting them from behind.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was joking. I was
legit. That's where their weakness is.
Yeah.
Other ones you can just shoot in the face. You can't shoot these guys.
That's fair. Yeah.
Well,
but yeah, that's Halo, guys. And then we might do something else.
we've said Halo, but now we have to say goodbye.
We have dived into Halo. And yeah.
You might what? You might do a So like a 4th episode on Halo? Maybe like maybe give one out of you if we ask you nicely.
Maybe. I mean, we could talk more about the flood.
Ooh, do they be flooding? Do they be wet?
Yeah, where are they this whole fucking time? Where they been?
Well, maybe if we get...
Oh, it's spoilers for the game, isn't it?
Maybe if we get milked enough, we'll have to do another
Fucking
episode.
hell, yeah.
Okay, fucking hell.
You like getting milked.
The amount of stars you give...
No.
If you made it this far, follow. We're social media influencers. Let's do the plug.
Thank you so much to our law keepers, keeping the lights on, keeping my fridge stocked. Thank you so much to our law keepers. And if you want to become a law keeper, you can get extra content, law leaflets. We talk about a little bit of our favorite laws we come across that don't make a full episode. And we have like script parts and stuff like that. And if you get a high enough tier, you can get a requested episode. Thank you to our prestige law keepers, a Chunky Monkey, Bong the Bard, Josh from Maine, and Shadow. And thank you so much to our novice lawkeepers, Blitz Bandit, Dan Dubs, Jacob from Norway, Josh 2, Loading Name, Luke Nukem, The Recluse, Tiani Wilson, and Uranian Games. For just $5 at our minimum tier, you get access to those
Videos of us kissing.
No.
Only the high law keepers get that.
No,
only the highest of law keepers get.
Matt removed my videos. I was like, it's content for the drive. He's
They're
like, we
like
can't
3
do
hours
this.
long.
I'm passionate about my projects.
Your fan art can
You're the one who keeps talking about these fucking worm boys being hot. And the number of stars you rate us is how high you are on the hot worms hierarchy, racial hierarchy, or how many of those tiers you can annihilate as a resistance human.
The number of stars you rate us is the number of grunts that you get to become buddies with and just chill out and you don't have to shoot them.
Dream blunt rotation.
Dream blunt rotation.
Me and 5 grunts.
The number of stars you give us is the amount of ages you get to maintain your position as a high profit.
That's a lot of age. Wait, but that's a lot of ages.
Some could say that sounds like ages.
It could.
Can they change so they can change age without changing the profits?
It is. I don't know if there's any specific written accounts, but it is possible for 2 new high profits to take the place of 2 old ones and 1 of the old 3 to stick around. It is possible.
Okay, cool.
You're resistant profit.
Yeah, I've been here for so many cycles, man.
Yep.
So many ages.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you've come this far, rate us 5 stars, follow, check us out on YouTube, on TikTok, on Discord. Join Discord. Check the links down in the descriptions.
And I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have made this episode if there wasn't talk about Halo on the Discord. So that was the ultimate thing.
That's true. I remember.
It helps us talk. We have a long list of suggestions. We're just adding more to it. So.
And as the Arbiter gathers you up in his arms and goes, which you understand deep in your head to know to mean good night.
I want that.
And as you awaken, seeing that the age has changed from one of war to one of peace and prosperity through setting off the halo rings, tomorrow you will wake up and say good morning to this new age.
And as you're fleeing from the humans across space and time, you zip into a new star system and say, hello to the halo that's sitting there.
Halo.
Halo!
Baby, halo, halo, halo.
Sayonara, John Halo.
Master
John,
Chief.
John Master Chief Halo.
I've seen a clip where I've played all. I've seen when he rides a fucking rocket to another ship, and that's how he gets from one ship to another. What the fuck is he doing?
John Master Chief.
He has to be one of the best.
Thank you for listening to Living by the Law. If you enjoyed our podcast, please leave a review, tell your friends, and if you're feeling extra generous, become an official lawkeeper by joining our Patreon today. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Living by the Law. All links are in the description, and thank you in advance. We have been, and always will be, living by the law. Thank you for your company, and good night.